Lesnik here from Live Free Legal, domestic violence attorney and survivor. Before we get started, if you are navigating a high conflict divorce, custody case, or a domestic violence situation, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs it. Because what we're talking about today can quite literally save lives. Last week, we talked about a critical combination in determining lethality in domestic violence cases. We talked about mental health, substance abuse, and domestic abuse, and how when these three factors come together, they significantly increase danger for women. If you haven't watched that video yet, go back and watch it, because today we're taking that conversation further. We're talking about something that courts often miss: lethality risk. Quick note before we dive in: this content is for legal education and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice and does not create an attorney-client relationship. Every case is different in every state, and you should consult with an attorney in your jurisdiction if you need specific legal information. Let's get started. Courts are trained to look for incidents, police reports, photos, specific acts. Lethality is about patterns of escalation. It's about what happens when control is threatened, when behavior changes, when risk quietly increases behind the scenes. And if you're in one of those relationships, you feel it, you sense it, you know it's happening. But if you're a court and you don't understand those patterns, or if you're in a relationship and you don't truly understand the dynamics of domestic abuse, you can miss the moment when everything becomes more dangerous. So factor number one, separation plus stalking. The most dangerous time in a domestic violence situation is often when you try to leave, not when you stay, because separation represents loss of control for the abuser. And when control is threatened, that's when escalation often begins. This is also when we often see stalking behaviors, monitoring your movements, showing up unexpectedly, excessive communication, tracking, following, or watching you. So stalking plus separation is a high risk combination, and yet it is often minimized. Another major warning sign is escalation of behavior. Not just that abuse is happening, but that it's happening more frequently or it's becoming more severe. That could look like verbal abuse turning physical, physical abuse becoming more aggressive, increased threats, or less control over behavior. Escalation is often one of the clearest indicators that risk is increasing. I want to talk about high risk indicators. I want to walk you through some of the most serious evidence-based lethality indicators, the ones that professionals use in structured assessments, like the one that I have in the description below, and also you can find one at www.womenslaw.org. These are not small warning signs. These are major red flags. So I want to specifically talk about strangulation. Ladies, strangulation is so serious and it is so deadly. And a lot of women minimize strangulation. Strangulation is when he puts his hands around your neck in any way, shape, or form, okay? It does not mean that he has choked you to the point where you have passed out. It's if he has put his hands around your neck in any way, shape, or form. There's any form of choking. Even if you don't have struggles with breathing, even if it doesn't hurt, if it's a threat to you and his hands are around your neck, that is strangulation. It is one of the most lethal forms of domestic violence and a critical predictor of future homicide. Victims who experience non-fatal strangulation by an intimate partner are 750% more likely to be killed by that partner in the future. Let me repeat that so that you understand the seriousness of strangulation if you are in a relationship with someone who has put their hands around your neck, and especially if they've done it more than one time. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Victims who experience non-fatal strangulation by an intimate partner are 750% more likely to be killed by that partner in the future. And I want to talk a little bit more about some other strangulation and death in domestic violence statistics that I think are going to alarm you. Almost half, or nearly 45% of attempted domestic violence homicides and a significant portion of completed homicides are preceded by at least one episode of non-fatal strangulation. If an abuser has previously strangled their partner, the risk of homicide increases 7 to 10 times. Studies consistently show that a woman who has been strangled by her intimate partner is 750% more likely to be killed by that same person, and often with a gun. An estimated 68 to 80% of women in violent relationships will be strangled by their partner at some point. And if an abuser has access to a firearm, especially combined with threats, the risk of homicide increases by 20 times. If you are in a relationship with a coercive controller or with someone who has a firearm, who is threatening you with that firearm, who is threatening to kill you or harm you in some way and has put his hands around your neck, I urge you, I plead with you to please seek a safety plan, seek safety, get help, and get out. Your life is seriously at risk. Okay, some other very serious risk factors, red flags. If he has threats or fantasies of homicide, if he makes explicit threats to kill you, your children, or himself. Okay, these are among some of the strongest predictors of lethality. And then suicide threats plus involuntary commitment. This is one that is often misunderstood because when an abuser makes suicidal threats, especially when it results in involuntary commitment, that significantly increases risk because it reflects instability, desperation, and loss of control. So this ties directly to last week's video. We talked about substance abuse lowers inhibition. So we want to talk about substance abuse and mental health. Mental health instability increases irrationality and unpredictability. Combined with a history of domestic violence, this becomes a compounding risk factor. So what do you do with this information? First, you take it very seriously. If you are seeing these patterns, do not minimize them. Don't pretend that they're just going to go away. You know they're not going to go away. You've been in this relationship. He continues to behave the way that he does. It's not stopping. You know that it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. Second, you create a safety plan. And I don't want you guessing how to do that. I want you to be safe. So I've created a free lethality assessment and a safety plan that you can download free in the description below. Use it, walk through it, get clarity, get help. Third, build a support system. You want a support system, a legal support system, an emotional support system, a spiritual support system. And if you need immediate help, contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-7233 or text START to 88788. And if you're listening to this and thinking, this sounds like my situation, I want you to trust that. You are not overreacting. You are recognizing patterns, and those patterns matter. Trust your gut. Trust your instinct. Understanding lethality risk doesn't make you fearful. It makes you prepared. And preparation changes outcomes for you and your children. If this video helped you, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it. Download the free lethality assessment and safety plan in the description below. If you are ready for deeper, structured legal education on how to navigate high conflict divorce and custody cases, especially when leaving an abuser, join the waitlist for Equipped to Stand, a 12-week legal education. That's where we take this information and turn it into action, preparation, and strategy for women going through separation and divorce with a coercive controller. The link is in the description below. We will see you next week. I post a webcast every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube at Live Free Legal. See you then.